Considering I speak literally all the time about retinoids, I probably should make a whole video about them because it has been requested as well. That is what I'm going to do today. So in this video, I wrote down all of the most common questions I get asked, had a bit of a brainstorm, and I also wrote down questions that I think would come after those questions that are most common. So hopefully in this video you can get a really good understanding of how retinoids work, why you would use them, who should, who shouldn't use them, how to apply them, how often to apply them, basically A to Z. And I'm hoping that this can be the video that I just direct everyone back to if they have loads of little questions. Obviously I will still reply on my social media videos, but I'm hoping that this video will stand the test of time and be very comprehensive. So let me know in the comments if you think this was actually very comprehensive, because I hope that it was. Retinoids absolutely transform my skin. I started researching them. I'd heard of them, obviously. A lot of people have heard of retinol, but they may not have used it or put it into practice. And maybe that's the stage that you're at. And that's the stage that I was at in 2020. Started getting a lot of breakouts. My skincare routine just wasn't working for me. So I started researching what I thought I should move on to next. And I came to the conclusion that it was retinoids. And I was not wrong. I was not wrong. And now we are here. And I literally make videos about retinoids every single week. So it's a good thing that I like doing that. I've got about 10 questions and you can obviously navigate to them by using the timestamps in the caption. But I'm going to start with how retinoids work so that when you're using them, I think it's a really good idea to have an understanding of how an ingredient works. Over time, when you understand how more and more things work, then you can kind of understand how they work together. And I think that by having that understanding, you are less likely to make common mistakes and less likely to have bad skin days, basically, because you might have done the wrong thing and you will be able to figure out where you went wrong in more cases than not. Retinoids work in a fairly simple way to describe. They basically speed up your skin cell turnover. An average skin cycle is about 6 weeks. On average, that's your skin replenishing itself. And retinoids basically are like having your foot on the accelerator with the skin cell turnover. So someone who's not using retinoids, their skin's turning over at a normal rate. And obviously as you get older, your skin cell turnover decreases. Whereas someone using a retinoid, that skin cell turnover process is just going much, much faster. And what that practically means is their skin looks fresher because it is fresher. Someone who isn't using retinoids, their skin on the surface that you can see has been sitting there a bit longer than someone who's using retinoids. The skin cells are renewing quicker, you're getting younger, fresher skin to the surface faster. And that continues happening for as long as you use the retinoid, but if you stop using the retinoid, the results will slowly fade away. And I didn't have this in the plan, but a lot of people then say to me, do I have to keep using a retinoid to keep my acne at bay? And the answer is, in most cases, yes. Sometimes when people stop using a retinoid, their acne doesn't come back, and that's great. But in most cases, if you had acne in the first place, you're probably still going to be prone to closed comedones when you stop using the retinoid, and the retinoid was this thing that was preventing you from getting them, so your skin's still going to be prone to the same things after you stop using the retinoid. Retinoids are different from things like salicylic acid or glycolic acid. I used to love glycolic acid. I used to use it every day, which was way too much, but this was many, many years ago. And now that I use retinoids, I just feel like salicylic acid and glycolic acid and other exfoliants, I just feel like they don't compare. And I'm not saying they don't still work and do great things, they absolutely do. But now that I understand how a retinoid works and I've seen how it works for my skin, I don't use any exfoliants anymore, like none. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't use exfoliants, I'm just saying you should use what you need. So if by using a retinoid a few times a week means that you don't need to use an exfoliant anymore, you shouldn't try and squeeze an exfoliant into your routine unless your skin's showing signs that it should. Glycolic acid and salicylic acid are really good at renewing the appearance of skin, but they don't speed up skin cell turnover in the same way that a retinoid does. They are not comparable in my opinion. Then moving on to differentiating between the different type of retinoids, we've got retinol, the most common type. When you go into Boots or Superdrug, for example, the most common type of retinoid in the shop is retinol. Basically 99% of those products will be retinol. Then you've got retinaldehyde, which is often shortened to retinal. Retinaldehyde is becoming more and more popular. I think in the last 1 or 2 years alone, I've seen quite a lot of retinaldehyde launches. It's becoming the new like trendy ingredient. And I'm really glad about that because I do think people will see much better results with retinaldehyde if they've got stubborn acne and closed comedones than they will with any other retinol. That's obviously a blanket opinion and it's going to be different for everyone, depends on your skin type, your age, your tolerance, your budget, but I personally think retinaldehyde is a really great ingredient, and coincidentally it's also the ingredient that I started with that got me the transformation that I use in all of my videos. So we've discussed retinol and retinal. Those are two cosmetic retinoids. Retinoid is the category term, so I could list lots of different types of retinoids: tretinoin, epiduo, adapalene, retinol, retinal. They are all retinoids. If someone says that they use a retinoid, you don't know which kind of retinoid they use, you just know that they use something from the retinoid retinoid family. Where if someone says I use retinol, you know that they're using a type of retinoid, and the type of retinoid they're using is retinol. I see a lot of this in my comments where people are correcting each other and they say things like, no, you've got retinol and retinoids, they're the two different kinds, and that's actually not correct. Retinoid is the kind, and retinol, tretinoin, epiduo, those are the subcategories of the retinoid category. So with retinol and retinal, those are the most common types you see in a shop, and you don't need a prescription to get them. And then you've got famous ones like tretinoin or tazarotene, also known as Taz. We've also got epiduo, which is a combination of benzoyl peroxide and adapalene. We've also got adapalene. Adapalene is what I use. The brand name of adapalene is Differin. So we've basically got prescription strength, and then we've got cosmetic strength. You need a prescription for these, you don't need a prescription for these. I always get asked which is the best one, and I will never change my answer on this. The answer depends on you. It depends on so many things, so there really is no single best retinoid to choose. I would always recommend to go on my blog on the page about retinoids, because it will have information on each one and it will kind of guide you through, and I think by reading that, it's not a very long blog post, maybe a couple of minutes, I think by reading that you'll be able to decide which one is the right one for you. And I also make videos on TikTok and Instagram where I basically say, these are all the different types of retinoids I recommend, and if you don't know which one to pick, just pick this one. And it's always a retinaldehyde of medium strength, simply because that's where I started from. It worked well for me. It's not as harsh as prescription strength. You don't need a prescription to get it. So if you're overwhelmed by what to pick, I would always just pick a medium strength retinaldehyde, of which I have recommendations on my blog. What you need to understand when you're picking a retinoid though, that I think a lot of people miss, is the higher the strength, the more side effects you are likely to get. The weaker the strength, the less side effects you're likely to get, but the slower it's going to work. So for example, with tretinoin, when you go to a dermatologist, they can prescribe you different retinoids. Tretinoin, adapalene, Taz, epiduo are some examples. They are all prescription strength, and they tend to get people results faster, but they can be a little bit more aggressive on the skin. So if you're someone with very sensitive skin, you are probably gonna wanna start at a lower strength, either a retinol or retinal, I would recommend. It's also why you see people jumping in at the deep end and saying that retinoids ruin their skin, which I think is a little bit unfair, because if they had chosen maybe a more appropriate retinoid, they would have seen better results. And a lot of people also tend to use retinoids incorrectly, which I'm going to get into later. And I think that's why you get these like retinoids ruin my skin narratives. I totally understand that perspective, because when you use a product and it goes horribly wrong, that is genuinely a traumatic experience. I've been there. Moving on to who should use retinoids. If you're wondering, is a retinoid the thing that I should be using to fix my particular skin situation? Hopefully this will explain it to you. Retinoids have this reputation for being something that older women should use. It's often associated with wrinkles, but did you know that retinoids were actually created for acne in the first place? And the reason they are marketed for things like wrinkles and anti-aging is because in the people who had acne that used the retinoids, over time they watched them and noticed that their skin was aging hella good. So the anti-aging benefit is actually just a byproduct of the anti-acne benefit, which is why when I get a lot of comments on my videos where people say, I'm 18, I think I'm too young to use retinoid. I'm not a doctor, I can't tell you what to do. Obviously, to get a prescription retinoid, you need to go to a doctor and go through them and be qualified by them. But a lot of people don't realise that retinoids are literally acne treatments for teenagers. Sometimes as young as 12 or 13, people are using retinoids. And yet you will still get people in the comments saying, I'm too young to use it, I'm 15. I understand where that comes from, but I think a lot of people don't quite understand the history of retinoids. So really the best type of person to use a retinoid is someone who is dealing with acne and has tried other things and nothing seems to be working, or someone who cares about premature aging and wants to reverse some of the signs of photoaging, for example. So sun damage, fine lines can be improved with a retinoid. Wrinkles that are set in stone, probably not going to go away with a retinoid. But generally speaking, if you're having persistent acne, even if it's mild, a mild to moderate retinoid might actually be the nail in the coffin for that acne. It certainly was for me. Then moving on to who shouldn't use retinoids, and that's pretty straightforward. Obviously any super young children, I'm assuming that's obvious, but just in case it's not, they should be seeing a doctor anyway. But ultimately anyone who's pregnant shouldn't really be using a retinoid, and it's even frowned upon if you're breastfeeding. In that same breath, a lot of people don't realise that things they are currently using are retinoids, like for example Accutane, that's an oral medication that is technically a retinoid. Epiduo is also a retinoid. I get a lot of comments where people say, can I use this retinoid with my epiduo? And I'm like, please don't do that. that because epiduo is a retinoid combined with benzoyl peroxide. So there's adapalene in the epiduo and there's also benzoyl peroxide. That's why epiduo can be quite irritating compared to a retinoid on its own. But because there's a retinoid in it, it's classed as a retinoid. When you're thinking about how often to apply a retinoid, I pretty much always give the same structure to anyone who asks because I would rather they go in cautiously and don't have a horrible traumatic moment where they feel like they burn their face off and then come back to me and say, oh, it's not gone very well, what should I do? I'd always rather they go cautiously, so I always give pretty much the exact same schedule, which is in month 1 try and use it 1 to 2 times a week, obviously space out the days. In month 2 try and use it 2 to 3 times a week, evenly spacing out the days. In month 3 you've been using it for a couple months now, you're going to know how your skin reacts to it, so you can go from 2 to 3 times a week to 3 to 4 times a week, but you should know that you don't have to use it every day and you don't have to use it more than 3 times a week. I think 3 times a week after 4 or 5 months at a minimum is a good minimum to have because you do want to be getting the full benefits of that retinoid, and if you just use it once a week you're never really going to see that. If you can't tolerate 2 or 3 times a week by month 5 or 6, you should probably look to moving down in strength. I think where people go wrong is they feel like they have to use the retinoid every single day. I used to feel like that too, and honestly I use it 3 times a week now and my results have never been better because you want to be using it at a minimum 3 times a week to get the most results, but you also don't want to be using it so much that the results start to be negated by the unwanted consequences, which are redness, flakiness, peeling, irritation. Basically the max amount of times you can use it without running into irritation on a regular basis. Which brings me on to the purge. It's not a fun topic. Anyone who tells you use this retinoid because you can avoid the purge with this retinoid every time doesn't know how retinoids work, or they do know how retinoids work but they don't really care what happens to you when you use them because they just want to get views because they are making a magical claim that doesn't exist. You can't avoid the purge if the purge is coming to you simply because, as I said before, retinoids speed up skin cell turnover, which means that anything beneath the surface, like pimples for example that haven't come out yet because pimples often take weeks to form, piece by piece your pore is getting blocked and over time that turns into more of a problem and then there's a blockage and inflammation is created and the pimple comes out in that spot. Those types of things will just rush to the surface with a retinoid. It's not that the retinoid is giving you new pimples, it just feels like they're new pimples because they're all coming out at once on a much sped up schedule. Similarly with closed comedones, most of them come to the surface too. They don't all turn into whiteheads. Sometimes they're just like a red dot and by 2 hours later they're literally gone. Other times it turns into a full-blown spot. You kind of get a mixed bag. But the point is, if you have those clogs beneath the surface, there's not really much you can do about them. They have to get out somehow, they've got to go somewhere. They would have come out eventually just in a few months time, and with a retinoid, point is that it gets worse before it gets better. But once it gets better, you have a lot less acne in general and your skin is a lot more predictable, and that's why I love retinoids. The purge usually lasts, they say, up to 12 weeks, but sometimes it can drag on for longer, though after 12 weeks it should be getting less and less as time goes on. If at 6 months your purge is still very aggressive, I would recommend not using that. I would recommend discontinuing the product, maybe trying a different one, a weaker one for example, or just a different formula, because unfortunately sometimes you can disagree with the formula that the active ingredient is in. A lot of people also say to me, I've just started breaking out this morning and I only used the retinoid last night. Is that normal? Yes, I noticed that. Breakouts happen for me within hours. And it's funny because with the purge, they come up quickly and they also tend to leave quickly. So you feel like you've just got clear skin after like a few breakouts, and then you reapply the retinoid and then the following day you notice more breakouts. And sometimes those breakouts can be gone by the following day. It's actually quite weird. Similarly, when you move up in strength in a retinoid, you might notice a very small purge. I definitely did, but it was nothing like the original purge. So with all of this in mind, when should you expect to see results? I get asked that a lot, and I do actually find it to be quite a difficult question to answer because it's gonna depend entirely on so many things. Your skin, how much acne you have, how many closed comedones you have, which retinoid you use, what the rest of your skincare routine is like, how often you've been using the retinoid, how long you've been using the retinoid. I would say in a month or so, even if you're still breaking out, you tend to notice a glowier skin, I find, with retinoids. Like even if you have pimples and you're still in the middle of the purge, you tend to see a bit more of a skin glow within sometimes a couple of weeks, maybe like a month or 2 months. I would always give a retinoid at least 3 to 4 months to start showing you the results that you're looking for. A lot of people comment on my videos and say, I've been using it a month and I still have acne, and I just think, I understand, I've been there, but you kind of have just started. Like 1 month on a retinoid, 1 month on any skincare product is really not a long time. So you unfortunately need need to kind of like set it and forget it. Like it'd be better if you just focus on something else in your life. That sounds really condescending, but you know what I mean? Like try not to be looking in the mirror every day wondering when you're finally going to see the results. I would say set it and forget it for about 3 to 4 months and then check in, do a before and after photo to see how it's improving your skin. You probably will see more of a difference than you realise. And for me, when I started to realise just how big of an impact retinoids had on my skin, I think it was about the 9 or 10 month mark where I was looking at photos and I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen my skin like this. And the best thing about retinoids, I think, is that providing you've got one that you can tolerate without much irritation, it comes and goes sometimes, as with all skin. Year after year after year, it just gets better. That's what I love. Like year after year after year, all your results compound. And that's just what I love about retinoids. And I feel like I get more and more compliments on my skin as time goes on because I'm used to it, but it really does just resurface your skin in a way that other products can't really compete with. My camera's running out of battery when I try and make this work though. Products not to combine with retinoids. You can combine any hydrating ingredients you want. So hyaluronic acid, don't let the word acid in that fool you. Ceramides, panthenol, allantoin, glycerin, niacinamide, use as much as you want. You don't want to be using retinoids with things like any kind of exfoliating acid, even if it's gentle, doesn't matter, don't layer the two. And when you're introducing a retinoid, it's actually best to cut out vitamin C and any kind of exfoliating acid, in my opinion. And I think the reason for that is you've probably got really attached to your salicylic acid or your glycolic acid. I know because that was me. And you're probably thinking you're going to get FOMO from not using it because you now kind of use it as a crutch. But what will happen if you don't cut them out, or what could happen, and you use retinoids and exfoliants in the same routine, is you're going to get all the redness, flaky skin, breakouts. Like it's going to be 10 times worse. And the retinoid most of the time is 10 times more powerful than what you were already using. So you don't want all that irritation. You want the retinoid to actually work, and it needs to be on relatively healthy skin to be able to do its job. Otherwise, they're just going to combine with each other, the retinoids and the acids, and you're just going to get all those unwanted side effects. You're going to have to take a break from both of them, and you're just going to delay the results even more. Moving on to the biggest mistakes I see people make with retinoids, that would be one of them, not cutting out other actives because you have FOMO, basically. Another one would be using too much product. I think I saw Ekin-Su in Love Island, yes, I do watch Love Island, applying like pea-sized blob to this cheek, that cheek, and her forehead. I understand how that happens because it is like a moisturizer consistency. She was using the Medicate Crystal Retinol, but I was in pain seeing her apply that much retinoid all over her face. You really just need a pea-sized amount spread super thinly across the whole face. Using more product doesn't make it more effective. If anything, it just means you're more likely to get all the irritation and you won't see the results because you're just seeing the irritation that you caused, and you're using up more product and wasting your own money effectively. You also definitely want to be wearing sunscreen. Retinoids expose baby skin to the world around us, basically. And the last thing you want to be doing is that baby skin gets to the surface, excited to see the world, and you crush it with UV damage that you can't see but will come to haunt you in 10 years' time. It's just not worth it. Like if you're going to invest into a retinoid, if you're going to take care of your skin, at least protect it from the sun. Even if you live in the UK where it's not that sunny, UVA levels are mostly consistent all year round, and those are the ones that cause most of the collagen crushing damage, basically. A lot of people get it confused. They think that if the UV index is 0 or 1 or even 2, that they're fine and there's going to be no sun damage. That's actually the wrong measure that you're looking at. That's measuring mostly UVB, which can burn you. And of course, in England on most days, you can't get burnt, but you're basically looking at the wrong measure. You want to be looking at UVA, which there's no point looking at because it's mostly consistent all year round. So sun damage can happen all year round from UVA, even on a cloudy day, and 80% of visible aging comes from UV. So if that's not enough for you, I don't know what is. So I hope it's not too obvious that I was really speeding up towards the end because I know that my camera's running out of battery and my housemate just came in. I can hear her and I find that really distracting. But I feel like we got through a lot of questions, and if you have any other questions, just let me know. And I guess I could do a part 2 if I've really missed that much out, but I hope that I haven't. And as always, I'm new to YouTube, so if you like this video, let me know, and if you have feedback, let me know because I need it. Apparently you don't know what a good YouTube video is until you've made 100 videos, so I've got a long way to go. Also, wish me luck on my first date of 2025 tonight. The devil couldn't reach me, so he made my fringe trim in 2 weeks' time, my teeth whitening tomorrow, my eyebrow appointment on Saturday in 2 days' time, and my date today. So I have to have massive eyebrows, yellow teeth, and a grown out fringe. So I hope it goes well.